Staff Sergeant Maya Kovic had worked at Naval Station Norfolk for 12 years. She had seen almost everything in that time. Long nights, hard training, difficult goodbyes. But nothing prepared her for what happened on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in the mess hall. It started like any other day. Maya walked into the dining hall with her clipboard in hand. Her job that day was simple. She had to check food safety logs, look at the cleaning records, and make sure the steam trays were holding the correct temperature. It was not exciting work. It was the kind of job most people forgot about until something went wrong. The mess hall was full of noise. Trays clattered. Sailors laughed at the far tables. Someone dropped a fork, and a group of young recruits cheered like it was a touchdown. Maya smiled at the sound but kept walking. She had done this walk so many times that her feet knew the path without her thinking about it. She stopped near the drink station to check the time. The clock on the wall was always 5 minutes fast, so she used her own watch instead. She pulled back her sleeve to check it. That was the moment everything changed. At a corner table, a man sat alone with his tray half-eaten. He was broad-shouldered, with short hair and calm eyes that seemed to notice everything around him without trying. He wore a jacket with a small trident pin, the kind worn by Navy SEALs. Most people in the room had learned not to stare at him. He had the quiet presence of someone who had seen serious things and did not need to talk about them. But the moment he saw Maya's arm, his face changed completely. He set his fork down so suddenly that it made a sharp sound against the tray. Then he stood up, almost knocking his chair backward. Maya turned, surprised. "Is everything all right?" The man did not answer right away. His eyes were locked on her forearm, where a detailed tattoo curled from her wrist to her elbow. It was a green and gold dragon, its body wrapped around 5 small stars near the top of her arm. The artwork was old, clearly done many years ago, but still sharp and clear. "Where did you get that tattoo?" he asked. His voice was steady, but something underneath it was shaking. Maya blinked, confused by the intensity in his tone. "Excuse me." He took a step closer, ignoring the stares from nearby tables. "The dragon. The 5 stars. Tell me who gave you that design." She glanced down at her arm, then back at him. "It's a family tattoo. My uncle had the same one. He passed it down to me, in a way." "Why are you asking?" "Your uncle's name," the man said firmly. "I need to know his name." There was something in his eyes that stopped Maya from feeling annoyed by the strange questions. It was not anger. It looked more like hope, mixed with disbelief. "Daniel Kovic," she said slowly. "He served years ago. Why does that matter to you?" The man let out a breath, like he had been holding it for a very long time. He sat back down, slower this time, as if his legs had become weak. "Petty Officer Daniel Kovic," he said quietly, almost to himself. "I have been trying to find that name for 15 years. By now, the noise in the mess hall had dropped. A few sailors nearby had stopped eating, sensing that something important was happening, even if they did not understand what. Maya pulled out the chair across from him and sat down, her clipboard forgotten on the table. "I think you need to explain what's going on." The man nodded slowly. "My name is Ray Ostrander. I am a Navy commander now, but back in 2009, I was much younger. I was part of a small team in Afghanistan. We were checking a tunnel system that connected several buildings. It was supposed to be a quick search. It was not." He paused, his eyes drifting somewhere far away, as if he were back in that tunnel for a moment. There was a collapse. Part of the tunnel came down without warning. I was hit on the head and lost consciousness almost immediately. I do not remember much from that day. Just pieces. Dust in the air. Pressure on my chest. And one image that stayed with me clearer than anything else." He looked at Maya's arm again. "A tattoo. A green and gold dragon wrapped around 5 stars. I saw it for only a second, right before everything went black. Someone had grabbed me and was pulling me through the dark, through pieces of broken stone, all while gunfire could be heard somewhere above us." Maya's hand moved instinctively to her own arm, touching the tattoo she had worn since she was 18 years old. "I woke up outside the tunnel," Ray continued. "I was alive, but I had no memory of who saved me. No name. No face. Just that tattoo, burned into my mind. I asked everyone on my team. Nobody knew who had gone in after me. Whoever it was had vanished before I woke up, like they did not want credit for what they did. He shook his head, a small, disbelieving smile appearing on his face. I spent years trying to find him. I described the tattoo to other veterans, hoping someone would recognize it. I even hired someone once to help me search old service records, but there were too many possibilities and not enough details. Eventually, I stopped actively searching. I told myself maybe I would never know. Maya sat quietly, taking in every word. Her uncle had never told this story. Not once, not even when she had asked him directly about his time in the service. My uncle passed away 2 years ago, she said softly. A heart attack, very sudden. We were close, but he never spoke about Afghanistan. He always changed the subject whenever someone asked. I used to think maybe it was something painful he wanted to forget. Ray's expression softened. I am sorry for your loss. Thank you, Maya replied. He was a quiet man. Strong, but quiet. He worked as a mechanic after he left the service. He used to fix old trucks in his garage on weekends. People in our neighborhood loved him because he never charged much, even when the repairs took hours. That sounds like the kind of person who would save someone and never mention it, Ray said. Maya nodded, feeling a strange mix of sadness and pride rise in her chest. He gave me this tattoo when I turned 18. Well, he did not give it to me physically, but he paid for it and stood beside me at the shop. He told me the dragon meant strength, and the 5 stars meant 5 people he thought about often. He never explained who they were. I always assumed they were old friends from his unit. Ray's eyes widened slightly. 5 stars. There were 5 of us on that mission. I am willing to guess that each star represents one of us. Maya felt a small chill run through her. He never told me any of this. Some people carry their experiences quietly, Ray said. Especially the difficult ones. Saving someone in the middle of chaos, then having to keep moving without knowing if you helped enough, can stay with a person for the rest of their life. Some choose to talk about it. Others choose to carry it in silence and let actions speak instead. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The mess hall slowly returned to its usual noise around them, but their corner of the room remained still, wrapped in a quiet kind of importance. I have a wife and 2 children, Ray said eventually. My daughter is 12. My son is 9. Neither of them would exist if your uncle had not done what he did that day. I have told them the story many times, but I never had a name to give them. Just a description of a tattoo and a feeling of gratitude I did not know how to fully express. Maya felt tears forming, but she did not let them fall. He would not have wanted any thanks. That was who he was. That is exactly why he deserves it, Ray said firmly. People who do good things without expecting recognition are the ones who deserve it the most. Maya managed a small smile. He always said the best kind of help is the kind nobody finds out about. Ray laughed softly, though his eyes were still glassy with emotion. Sounds like a wise man. He was, Maya said. Even when he frustrated me by being too quiet about important things. The 2 of them sat together for the next hour, sharing stories. Maya described her uncle's old garage, the smell of oil and metal that always lingered around him, and the way he used to whistle old songs while fixing engines. She told Ray about family dinners where her uncle would sit quietly at the head of the table, listening more than talking, but always paying close attention to everyone around him. Ray shared details about the mission that day, careful not to include anything too graphic, focusing instead on the courage and quick thinking it must have taken to pull him to safety through a collapsing tunnel. He explained how the experience had changed the way he approached his own work afterward, teaching him to value teamwork and trust above almost everything else. I owe him my life, Ray said again, his voice thick with emotion. And in turn, my family owes him their existence. That is not something I take lightly. Maya wiped her eyes and nodded. Thank you for telling me this. I feel like I finally understand a part of him that I never had access to before. Ray reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone. Would it be all right if I called my family? I want my children to hear this. I want them to finally have a name to go with the story I have told them so many times. Maya hesitated for only a moment before nodding. I think he would like that. Even if he would never admit it. Ray dialed a number, and after a few rings, a woman's voice answered. He explained quickly what had happened, his voice trembling with excitement and disbelief. Maya could hear a faint gasp from the other end of the line, followed by the sound of children asking questions in the background. Ray smiled as he spoke. Yes, I'm sure. Her name is Daniel Kovic's niece. She's sitting right here with me. He held the phone out slightly, and Maya could hear a young voice ask eagerly, is that the man with the dragon tattoo? The one who saved Daddy? Maya's chest tightened with emotion as she answered, yes, that's him. He was my uncle. The little girl's voice grew excited. Can you tell us about him? Daddy always says he was a hero, but we don't know anything else. Maya smiled through her tears. I would love to tell you about him. Over the speaker, Ray's wife thanked Maya repeatedly, her voice full of gratitude and disbelief that after so many years, they finally had answers. The children asked simple, curious questions about what Daniel looked like, what he liked to eat, and whether he had any pets. Maya answered each question patiently, feeling like she was introducing her uncle to people who already loved him without ever meeting him. When the call ended, Ray placed his phone down and looked at Maya with a sense of calm that had not been there before. Thank you for this. You have given my family closure we have waited a very long time for. And you have given me a piece of my uncle I never knew existed, Maya replied. I think that makes us even. Ray chuckled. I do not think it works that way, but I appreciate the thought. The mess hall around them continued its normal routine, sailors coming and going, trays being cleared, lunch hour slowly coming to an end. But for Maya and Ray, the ordinary day had transformed into something neither of them would ever forget. Before leaving, Ray stood and extended his hand. I would like to stay in touch, if that is all right with you. I think my family would enjoy hearing more about him, and I would like to share stories from my side as well. Perhaps even visit his garage someday, if it is still there. Maya shook his hand firmly. I would like that very much. I think he would too. As Ray walked toward the exit, he paused and turned back one more time. Tell me something. Does the tattoo ever feel heavy to you? Like it carries more weight than just ink? Maya looked down at her arm, tracing the outline of the dragon with her eyes. Every single day. But after today, I think I finally understand why. Ray nodded, offering a small, respectful smile before stepping out of the mess hall and into the bright afternoon sun. Maya remained at the table a little longer, her clipboard still untouched beside her. The routine inspection she had started that day was no longer on her mind. Instead, she thought about her uncle, about the quiet strength he had carried throughout his life, and about the 5 stars on her arm that finally made sense. She realized that some of the most important stories are not the ones people tell with words, but the ones they carry silently, hoping that one day, by chance, the right person will notice and ask the right question. That day, in an ordinary mess hall, surrounded by clattering trays and unfinished meals, 2 strangers had uncovered a story 15 years in the making. A story of courage, sacrifice, and quiet heroism that had finally found its way into the light. And as Maya gathered her things and stood up to finish her work, she felt a new sense of pride in the tattoo on her arm. It was no longer just a symbol passed down from her uncle. It had become a reminder that even the quietest acts of kindness can echo far beyond what anyone could ever imagine.